am live. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. It's a big full moon tonight. You ready for this? I'm so happy that you're here. Welcome into the, it's inappropriate. The buck fuck moon. We're making each other laugh. Hi, how are you? Welcome in. It's a Capricorn full moon. Capricorns aren't laughing because Capricorns don't laugh. Yes, you do. I'm stoked that you're here. We are live and alive. My drama's gonna stand up on its own. I'm so happy you're here. Looking for, you know what? You're gonna take that and run with it, and that's why we're friends. That's why I love you and appreciate you so very much. And it's your birthday, Misty. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday
to you. What a fortuitous day to have your birthday. It's a full moon. We don't have any eclipse activity. I'm so happy to see you. I'm great. Today's been a really nice day. I hope it's been good where you are too. It's beautiful outside today too. We just had a beautiful day here in Southern California. So I'm welcoming you in. We are going to do some ceremony tonight. And then I want to remind you a couple things. We made a new goodie for you today over at the Lair. We've made some really great ceremonial salts, but we have not done a full moon salt for you before. And so your guiding light, Circe, will link you to this on Etsy if you'd like to get one. I'm going to show you how I like to work with salt, because salt for me is probably the most versatile magical tool at my fingertips, more so than sage, because I take a ceremonial salt bath before ceremonies. Did it today. And then I also keep salt on my altar. And this one is made with our full moon blend. So this is new over on our Lair site if you would like one. A couple of other things I want to tell you. We have an after party tonight. So I always do full moons and new moons live public for free. It's a commitment I made a long time ago, 14 years ago, in fact. Can you believe Sage Goddess is turning 14 in 2 weeks? 14 years ago. I gave birth to this. I didn't know what I was giving birth to, but it turned out to be like the best thing that ever happened, right? To me, and hopefully to a lot of you too. But anyway, yeah, so we're celebrating Sage Goddess's 14th birthday. So I'm always free and live on the new moon and the full moon because that's my commitment. And it will be for as long as I practice. But I do now a class after an after party where we go a little deeper. And tonight we're going really deep into something I think is really profound. And I'm going to intro it tonight with the full moon because it's relevant for all of us. And then I'm going to dive deeper into it later with the after party. But Circe's got your link for you to join Wax Wane, which is where I do the full moon after parties and the new moon after parties. And I also do an astrological overview for each month. And we do the high holidays together. So you can, it's never too late to join, by the way, too. The way I teach is every month is its own month. So it's not like it builds on itself, or if you miss last month, then you won't understand this month or anything like that. It's not like that. So I know. So anyway, if you want to join us, it's $39 a month and you get all the things. But if you're not joining, I'm going to still give you a little bit of a flavor of it tonight, but we're going to go really deep into it for the after party. You know, Capricorn's all about work. The moon's full in Capricorn tonight, by the way. And I'm also going to tell you about some outer planet situations that are affecting you, whether you realize it or not. Because we've got big movement with the outer planets. Does that make sense to you? If you have questions, just let me know and I will break things down. I'm happy to do that because that's my passion, is helping you understand the astrology of the moment. But we've got a lot of stuff happening, and these transits are going to affect us all the way into probably the first 2 or 3 months of 2026. So I'm giving you tonight a little preview that you're going to feel mix-ups and shake-ups in your life for the next 6 to 9 months. And the best thing you can do, honestly, is stay with your practice. You know, I keep showing up, you keep showing up, we do the work. Get as grounded as you can, and only listen to people in your life who really understand you. You know what I mean? Like, don't let yourself get thrown off kilter. It's hard for me too, by voices that are not, you know, familiar. I always say, don't take advice from people who aren't where you want to be in life, right? Like really be discerning about whose guidance you take. Because it's weird right now. Can I just get a hand up in the feed if anything's weird for you right now? I'm just curious. If everything's perfect for you right now, like you have no idea what I'm talking about, I will celebrate you tonight. But for a lot of us, it's a little sideways, you know? It's getting weird. And I have to tell you, I'm also going through it, right? Because I'm your sister, and like I go through the whole experience that you're going through. But then I have this perspective where I'm like, we should be talking about this, like how weird things are. And I have a theory tonight. Do you want to hear it? Should I share it here or should I share it in the after party? I have a theory about what's going on that I kind of want to float by you because it's relevant to the Capricorn full moon. So I kind of think I want to float the theory tonight and then we can dig into it later. Okay, I'm going to talk about it. It's not a conspiracy theory. I'm not that kind of person. Conspiracy theories are very 3D. I'm not interested in that. Really, I'm not. Like, I'm interested in what's really happening, like higher order stuff that's happening. Conspiracy theories don't hold my attention. Okay, so we'll talk about all of this tonight. I'm really into it. Oh, it's and I'm putting a positive spin on it because I try to be an optimistic person, but in some cases it's really shitty. As I sip my Diet Dr. Pepper, it's weird right now, y'all. So we're going to do a full moon ceremony, a proper one, the way we do. You don't have to have any particular tools for tonight. I have our full moon candle. If you have yours, we'll be lighting the same candle, so that's cool. I don't even know if those are available, but Circe knows. Circe has all the answers. Stones for tonight. I wore red just because at a Capricorn full moon, I feel like there's a calling to be really grounded. So let's go. Let's talk about maybe root chakra stones. I did feel really called to almandine garnet for today. I also think stones around achievement and success are important. Ganesha's color is red, and I always feel like a Ganesha aligned energy at a Capricorn full moon because Capricorns are really good at working the problem, right? They're good at finding solutions and helping us move through the obstacles that we perceive. So I wanted to say that too. I feel like any of the stones you associate with Capricorn would be really good to work with. So, but I love a garnet for tonight. Anything that you feel really grounding for you. Dravite tourmaline would be really nice. Black tourmaline would be really good for tonight. I love it. Kayla's like honestly working with yellow gold today instead of crystals. So she's feeling called to metal. And that feels good to me too. And I'll tell you why, because gold is solar. So your intuition, which feels so accurate to me right now, is calling you toward a metal that's very masculine. Of course, Capricorn is very masculine, right? And then it's interesting too, like Marlene is saying, she's not hungry today, right? So this energy could take you a couple of different directions where your energy is so focused elsewhere that you don't get hungry. Or you want to get grounded so bad that you're like, can I have a steak with an extra steak and maybe an extra steak on top of that? And right, to like really meat grounds us. If you're vegan, protein grounds us, right? So you might be feeling called to all of that. Okay. Good to know. So seriously, if you could let Hannah and company know that they're sold out, that would be awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying your full moon candles, by the way. Are you eating your emotions? Me too. I do. I'm Greek. There used to be a book called When Food is Love. And it was like a book about how food shouldn't be love. And I remember seeing it in the bookstore and going, but food is love. I feel called out. I feel shamed right now. Food is absolutely love. If I love you, I'm going to feed you, right? Do you remember that book? I don't know if you remember that book. Anyway, I remember feeling really shamed and called out by it. It's true. I have no shame in my game. Honestly, there's very little that some carbs won't fix for me. Italians are the same. I love that so much. I know. All the Mediterraneans were like, I don't know, maybe we should eat. Okay, so welcome in. I'm gonna I do have notes for us tonight, and I am gonna dig into my notes. And like I said, we'll dig in a little bit. I will take it one click down in the after party, and then we need to think about ways to have these conversations publicly, because I just feel like they're needed. I spend a lot of time in social media. I watch everything and I watch everyone. Like, I'm very diverse in my tastes. I want to say, first of all, I don't feel like there's a lot of spiritual conversations about what's happening to us. I just, it's weird. I'm like, where are all the voices? But I do think, you know how we've all been talking about for the last couple of decades. I've been with you almost 15 years, right? We've all been talking about the planet's ascension and what that would be like when we move from this human dimension of reality to something more elevated, right? And I feel like it's really happening now. And even people who are not super spiritual or dialed in or don't think about dimensional shifts and all these things are coming to me and going, what's happening, right? Do you have a way of explaining this to me that'll make sense? So yeah, and there are good voices, by the way. I'm not saying that there's no good voices, but there are not a lot. You know what I mean? I'll hear one or two or three people, and then the rest of the feed goes kind of superficial for me. So I definitely want to contribute to that conversation, and I want to make space for our community to have those conversations too, because I think it's really important. Lee Harris is great, in my opinion. I haven't seen everything that Lee Harris does, but what I've seen really resonates. And like I said, the voices that are coming forward are good. You know what I mean? Are useful. And then what I love too is people who are really looking at the energetics. They're not looking at the politics. The politics, again, is a symptom. It's not a cause. So anytime anybody wants to have political conversations, I'm not interested in that, because that is so 3D. It's a divisive tool. So by definition, it sort of excludes me, right? And I don't participate in political systems. I don't align with a party. And so I'm just like, well, this isn't interesting to me. But as soon as we get into the energetics, now you have my attention, because now we're talking about something that isn't intended to divide. So anyway, cheers. Okay. So let's talk about, I want to dive in. Like I said, I usually don't teach during these ceremonies, but I've got some stuff I want to talk about. We have Pluto retrograde as of the 4th of May, Neptune retrograde as of the 4th of July. So that just happens. Okay. It just happened. Saturn retrograde as of the 12th. Okay. All of this carrying into the fall. These planets, by the way, these are outer planets. So people say, oh, you know, the outer planets don't affect us as much. But here's the thing. They have, just like they're outer planets from our solar system, they're outer planets to you in terms of the influence on your system. So these are indirect influences on you, but they're major influences. And these aren't changing your day-to-day life. These are changing the course of your life, right? So the inner planets change the day-to-day, the outer planets change the decade to decade. So you might feel like, well, day-to-day, my life looks kind of normal. Like, we ordered from Mickey's Deli today. Like, okay, maybe everything's going to be okay. But then, like, you can feel these big polarity shifts. Like the whole banana is changing, right? Like your day-to-day is kind of the same, but then everything outside is really being impacted. Radical changes carrying through into the fall. These outer planets are going to be in new signs in 2026. So, and some of these haven't changed signs. Uranus in Gemini, first time in 84 years. My dad turned 85 yesterday. He's the only one in my family who knows what it's like for Uranus to be in Gemini. Well, why does this matter to you? Well, Uranus brings radical change, and it's bringing change to the way we communicate, the way we think, the way we generate content. Think about artificial intelligence. Think about, and it's going to be here for a minute. It gives me goosebumps, actually, right? Freedom of speech, how we communicate with each other. All of this is on the menu. So our elders, right? I guess my dad knew what it was like as an infant, but really doesn't have a lived experience of it, right? So none of us who are alive today really understand, unless they're 100 years old and really remember their teenage years, what it's like to have a big shift in communication. But if you look at what was happening 85 years ago, paradigm shifts already in terms of how we communicate with each other, laws being established, right? Radical changes happening. Okay, so I'm going to give you one word to summarize everything that's happening in the outer planet astrology right now, which is renewal. Everything is being exfoliated. You're being exfoliated, I'm being exfoliated, the planet's being exfoliated, right? And we can even look at sort of weather changes and shifts, right? Fires tend to burn clean, right? So we have a lot of radical fire activity, seismic activity. The planet itself is going through this metamorphosis, right? Yeah. So think about World War II, as Lana Gundry is pointing out, right? Like our planet was going through this radical shift at that time in terms of how do we relate to each other? Are we going to fight or are we going to create peace? And all of that was being articulated. We're at that same precipice now where we're thinking about, do we want to have peace on the planet or do we want to have instability? There's also, and I won't get into the like super deep astrology, but there's a lot of this new moon in Leo that's coming up at the end of the month. So the next time we see each other will be that new moon. That's bringing shifts in leadership. And there's a lot of astrology around upper levels of leadership, government leadership. So lots of changes, again, recycling, renewal, things becoming new again. And I think the planet itself is trying to rebirth something. And if you feel that, how many of you feel kind of like a phoenix energy in your own life? Like there's some newer version of you that's trying to come up, and it can be fighting through layers of time and age and resistance and everything else, but there's like something new in you that wants to emerge. The only thing I can compare this to is because I've had 2 children, and so I've been in labor twice. It feels like labor pains where like my whole body was contracting to try to push this life into the world, but I'm not pregnant. So it feels like collective labor pains. Like I can just feel the weight of us trying to birth something, and it's uncomfortable and you want to just get through it, right? Okay. So here's a question for you. I always like to give you questions to think about at these big moon phases. So here's a question for tonight. What have you outgrown? I've outgrown a lot of things, meaning I feel too big for them now, right? Like arguments I would have had a couple of years ago, or like conversations I would have had, or relationships I would have been in. Like I am smaller size wise, but I feel too big for those spaces. It's like I just couldn't even engage those things. I couldn't have those conversations. I couldn't be in that relationship. Like, oh, you just think like there's no way. So that's part of what's happening. So here's what I want to say to you. This is about new paradigms. This is about what it means to resist, like to say no to dynamics and energies and people and relationships in your life. And how, here's my theory, okay? Where we used to have to talk about it, we don't anymore. Like things are just shifting, right? We used to have like tough conversations and tough love and all these things. I don't feel like that happens anymore because energy is moving faster. Time is changing. And people are having, I used to teach this thing called the blue room, which was like you go into a meditation with your higher self and the other people's higher selves, and the higher selves have a conversation. I almost feel like that's becoming obsolete. Energies are working themselves out. And here's the other thing I'm going to say that's really interesting to me as an entrepreneur and somebody who works and does my creates my reality through online spaces. Everything virtual is different. We have a shorter attention span. We cycle through information much more quickly. It's like move. That's not interesting. I already know that. I don't want to see that again, right? And I actually think that instead of having like an algorithm, right? Like Facebook has an algorithm or Instagram has an algorithm, I actually don't even think that's relevant anymore. I think there's a higher order algorithm happening between our own consciousness and the consciousness of our online spaces. Does this make any sense to you? I just want to make sure I'm clear because I know what I'm talking about can seem kind of convoluted. Okay. So everything's happening so fast that in some cases we don't have to talk about it. We've already moved beyond it. But here's the thing, even conflict, right? Like even, have you had this experience? Like you're in conflict with someone and usually that would last for a certain period of time. And it's like you both move through it. You don't even talk about it and you either go your separate ways or you figure it, but it's not like you have to talk it out. Okay. So what does this mean for how we work with each other? This is a Capricorn full moon. This is why I wanted to talk about this tonight, because this is the conversation I haven't heard. If you're hearing it other places, please let me know, because I'd like to tune in and see what they're saying. But this is the piece that's missing for me. Is it's like, no, we're not to Jolene Tebbett's point. We're not wasting the energy. We don't have to. It's a waste. We're in a quantum field now, and even people who don't believe in the things that I always thought it was just me, they're like, no, I feel it, right? Everything is moving at the speed of sound. The good news is we get over stuff faster, right? Because we're not sitting and mired down and wallowing anymore, and we're not carrying on, and we're just moving forward. I have questions though, right? Like, how is this going to affect our health? I think it's going to increase our lifespan, because so much of our health conditions, including cancer and all other diseases, really, if you look at it, have energetic origins with stress, right? Holding on to stuff. Well, we're not holding on to stuff. We're cycling through it. Okay, so could this dynamic work to our collective benefit, where we have longer lifespans? Could it help with our mental health? I think for a minute here, it's been hard for our mental health, because we're so inundated by information and things happening so fast that we get anxiety. But now we're learning to release that anxiety, and we're not even talking about it, but our bodies are like adapting, right? Again, does this make sense to all of you? So I wanted to share all of this tonight, because even though it's Capricorn, right, which is the sign of tradition, it's the sign of the father, okay? It's the sign of stability. So it's not, Capricorn is kind of usually the late adopter of technology, right? Not the early adopter. Capricorn is like the last to say, yeah, you're probably right. We're going through a quantum energetic leap. And as you know, consciousness precedes information. Our own souls will know something to be true before anybody writes a study about it or makes a video about it, right? There's something in us that knows. The mic is picking up static. Okay. Anyway, I hope you can hear me. I'm using the same mic I always use, so I don't know what it's picking up, but there's something in us that knows this is happening. Our souls are keeping up with it, because we are souls, right? The body doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. And then ultimately the body is going to be able to attune to the frequency, but it's going to take us a little time. It's a crunchy sound. I have no idea. The sound is through my computer. So let me not touch my notebook. I honestly don't know what it is, but thank you for being patient with it. Okay. I moved it. Okay, good. So cheers. I'm glad this resonates with you, and I'm glad you're interested in it, and I'm glad it's making sense. I have lots of questions about how is it going to impact our health? How is it going to impact like global leadership? How is it going to impact commerce, right? Like, I will tell you, having been in the same field for 14 years, the field of metaphysics is totally different now, right? Like, working with crystals is different. We're almost getting too fast for it. But here's what I'm going to tell you. I still think crystals are relevant, because I still think that they can attune us and align us to subtle frequencies, right? But do we have to sit there and hold them? And, I just think everything we do energetically is going to be so different come 5 or 10 years from now. Isn't it different? I don't know. My theory, by the way, and Shannon, I agree with you, right? My theory, by the way, is that we're never going to lose, not in our lifetimes, the desire for community and connection. There's still something really valuable about looking at each other eye to eye and having these conversations. And I know for me, I'm still looking to you guys. I'm still looking to people I trust and voices I look to for resonance, right? Is this accurate for you too? How are you doing? So I don't think we're going to lose our desire for connection and community. I really don't. I think we're hardwired to want to be in intimate relationship with each other. But I think how we're going to relate to each other is going to change. And the cool part is, if there's like the best news of it all, maybe for me, and then we'll transition to some ceremony. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to add. By the way, a lot of us are feeling this because we're fixed signs. So that's Leo on the fire side, the fixed fire sign. Scorpio, you're fixed water. Aquarius, you're fixed air. And then Taurus, you're fixed earth. So all of us who are fixed signs, we usually are the last ones to be on board with big change. You know what I mean? Like, because part of what we do for you is we hold the old, right? So before we're going to let it go and let some new paradigm come through, we're kind of like the keepers, right, of the wisdom. So the fixed signs are kind of, we're the ones who maybe are struggling most with this. So if you're a Scorpio, a Taurus, a Leo, or an Aquarius, and I'm seeing you guys in the feed, and that would be your sun, your moon, or your rising sign. So that includes Lee, that includes me, that includes my daughter because she's a Scorpio moon. Yeah, and my son does seem to be riding the wave pretty well. You know what I mean? So look at the people in your life with those fixed placements and just check in with them because we might be having a moment with all of this, right? You're a Leo. Happy birthday, early birthday to my Leos, by the way. Did you see my post on our event page today? It said it's Cancer season, so it's okay to cry, but it's a Capricorn moon, so try to be efficient and cry on your way to work. As a Leo, I don't think it's okay to cry. I'm just kidding. I think it's okay to cry. I don't want a whole lot of it. I'm just being real as a Leo. We can deal with like 5 minutes of that, and then we need you to get the tissue and clean it up and move it along. Move it along. I have a timer. Love you, Cancers. I was that shitty Leo kid who used to look at the water signs and go, "Oh, you're gonna cry." I don't do that anymore. I've been crying. It's a weepy. Listen, y'all Cancers, bring it out in us. Look at me starting a fire in here with all my sage. Christina's laughing. And Scorpios in the house are like, "Yep." Listen, if you have to cry, you have to cry. But I just think there's a time and a place, and I got a whole box of tissue right here for you if you want it. But yeah, when you see me crying, there's a real problem. Jesus is about to come back. That's a sign of the apocalypse right there, is Athena crying for extended periods of time. It's like, oh God. Oh no. Okay. So Leo season will be here soon. Don't you worry about it. Okay. So we have cleared the energy. So my question for you tonight, usually at a Capricorn full moon, first of all, what do we do at a full moon? Pop quiz time. What don't we do? We don't release energy. Okay. The moon isn't releasing anything. She's holding on like this. She's big. She's full. She got all her light, right? So we're not releasing. What do we do at a full moon? Well, you can see really clearly. Well, that's interesting. It means that we vision. Okay, we expand. Just like she's expanding, we expand, and just like we can see more clearly, she can see more clearly, right? So we do what the moon does. So at the full moon, we expand and we look. We don't act. Okay, I don't take action energetically until the new moon. When at the full moon, I get the big picture. What do I need to see? Something always becomes clear for me at the full moon. Shit's become real clear for me at this one. Okay. So the first question I'm going to ask you is, what has become clear to you in the last 48 hours? You don't have to share. But if you let yourself, and if nothing's become clear, you got 48 hours now, the next 2 days. Like if you have big questions about people, about situations, about dynamics, don't talk to them. Ask yourself, what do I need to know about this person? What do I need to know about this dynamic? If I was going to make a decision, what would I do? And then sit with it for 2 more weeks until the Leo new moon, and then release it and point to where you want to go. Set your sails, right? Like pull the arrow back, the new moon. Okay, this is what we do every month. This is not a new cycle. I love the new moon better because it's a cosmic fortune cookie, right? It's like, ooh, I want, or a wish list. I want this, I want that. I like that energy a lot. At the full moon, though, universe is like, so you need to know this about this person, and you need to know this about this situation, and you need to understand this. That the full moon is like, look over here, kiddo, right? Things get clear. And then, but then you, because you have free will, you get to choose, right? So the next 2 weeks, as the moon starts to wane, you go, okay, well, I thought this relationship was moving in this direction, but what I saw at the full moon is it needs to move in this other direction. I'm going to let go of my expectations. I'm going to let go of my attachments, and then see where we land at the new moon when our intuition is the most active, right? Our ancestors understood this. At the new moon, we don't have the moon's light to guide us, so we have to go within. At the full moon, we have all the illumination, right, that we need. Your son is wearing you out. Well, he's that age. Although my son is 18, but, had to go through a really gnarly surgery this week. So back to toddler days for a minute. As a mom, I love it because I don't get to baby him anymore. Your workplace is burning you out. Yeah. So here's the question for you. I don't think Capricorn's just about work. Do you? My North Node's in Capricorn. It's the reason I'm on the planet this time. So I always say I play a Capricorn on TV. I don't think it's about work. Maybe in the Buddhist sense, right? Like, we're here to contribute things to each other. We call it work, and then we pay each other for it. But that's very human. What's the not human part is the offering. What are you here to offer? And for some of you, it's the same as your work. And you're really lucky. Like, if the thing you're here to offer is the thing you get paid for, that's rad. A lot of people, that's not the case, right? The thing they're here to offer is something they do separate from their work. So my question for you tonight is, what are you here to offer? And as long as you're not doing it, you're not going to be happy, right? So Capricorn wants to get under the hood of work for you. Not just, okay, if people say, well, what do you do for a living? That's also not a good question. I think the real question is, why are you here? Like, what are you here to create or know or generate or hold space for that really kind of nobody else can do right now the way you do it? What is that for you? Yeah. And even purpose, like, that's the closest we come to that question, right? I think, Shannon, is what's my purpose? But even a purpose is like, that word puts pressure on me. So that's why I'm using the word offering tonight. Like, I'm here to offer. What is it that you're here to offer? I love that paradoxal debacle said, I'm here to cheerlead others. Vicky says, I feel lost. The Helton say, create a baby. Those are all great answers. And by the way, feeling lost means you're in the process of being found, right? So, because people who are really lost sometimes don't feel lost. People who are like on their way to figuring things out sometimes will say, I feel lost. What's your offering? And if you don't know, maybe tonight's a good night to take that big light and ask the big good question, right? Like, what if your offering is just the way you move in the world, and it's not any more complicated than that, right? My son said something to me yesterday, just in passing, but how like things stick with you. He's like, you're such a softie. Like, even when you have hard conversations, you're soft about them. And at first I was like, really? Am I too soft? Because you always like, is that a criticism? And then I was like, well, maybe I'm here to be soft. Because I've been surrounded by really hard people all my life, like really hard people. So maybe I'm the counterbalance. And what if that's my offering? It's just to be softer. And then do you think that's enough? That's the question. So I sat with that. I'm like, ooh, is that enough? Like at the end of it, right? If I said I was here to be soft in tough places, is that enough? I don't know. It just had me thinking, right? And then that's helpful for us, right? Because then we don't feel like it has to be some big thing. Like I think people think it has to be a big thing. My offering is world peace or whatever. Like, no, right? So, okay, so now I'm going to ask you a different question, and then we'll do a little ceremony. I really wanted to have this conversation with you tonight, and I know it's a lot of talking and connecting, but I just thought for Capricorn, it feels so right to have this conversation. Like, what's your just enough? Not the big thing that you think it's supposed to be, but like, what's your just enough that actually might be the whole thing? And would that get you to rethink why you're here and maybe appreciate who you are a little bit more, right? Like, what's your little tiny? Mine is, you're soft, right? I love it. Nathan's like, my grace. Not everybody can give grace. They don't know how to do it, or I don't know, they don't think about it, right? So like, that's pretty cool. Or, the way you're supportive, Carrie, or Angela says, being a positive influence, right? Whatever it is, your love, or like maybe it's the way you look after people, right? Or the way you cook, or the way you think of other people, just gently, right? Little things. Seeing people, right? Lana says to witness people, showing kindness for Janet, right? Silver linings from Hillary. Just enough giving is my love language, right? And Liz says listening, like you're a good listener. Paradoxical debacle said the same thing. Natalia said compassion. These are really beautiful. Look at that. Like, what if so under this big Capricorn full moon where we're like, my profession and my education and my credentials and stuff, like, what if at the end of it, you find out it's this little tiny thing about you, right? Like I have a little bit of like fairy kind of pixie energy in me. Like I'm just a little playful and, sometimes a little nuts. And I think differently than other people. Like, okay, well, what if that's what it is, right? The playfulness is my whole reason for being, right? I just think this is cool. So yeah. So I'm here to take the word work out of a Capricorn full moon because everybody's going to do that. Everybody's going to do that. And I think even the Capricorns, can you guys speak up for a minute? I feel like I am not a professional being a Capricorn. Like I said, only my North Node, but like, can the Capricorns validate that you guys also think maybe it's subtler? Capricorns are always successful. So it's just like, because they're not going to stop till they are, right? They're ruled by Saturn. Saturn's like, honey. Softer, right? Subtler. It's like, it doesn't have to be so big. Look at all that cap in the feed. By the way, I love Capricorns. I really do. I'm inspired by them. Nobody's got that like they do. Taurus kind of, but you guys you don't give up. And it just drives me sometimes when I think about it. And y'all are naughty. Don't even tell me a lie. You guys are very naughty. I know some real naughty Capricorns. Don't even hand that to me. You guys are like the naughty librarians. I've seen it. It's like Cancers. Cancers always want to pretend like, oh, I don't have thoughts like that. And it's like, oh, really? Come on, Cancer. I'm not hearing it at all. I know. Scorpio's got nothing on Cancer and Capricorn. Nothing. I'm so glad we're laughing. This is like a really serious full moon, and I trusted in you guys to bring the joy. Okay, well, let's do a little ceremony. Ready? So, guides and guardians, let's call you in real quick, y'all. Guides and guardians of the East, give us some air. Woo! Help us to see clearly. New beginnings, new cycles, new possibilities. Yeah. You are here. And guides and guardians of the South, fire energy. Let's stimulate each other. Let's be stimulated. Transformation, courage, passion. You are here. And then guides and guardians of the West. Emotional healing and renewal, tenderness, nurturing, and abundance. And then guides and guardians of the North. Grounding, it's Capricorn. Stability, patience, perseverance. Yeehaw! All the cool kids are here. Guides and guardians of the vertical channel, we welcome you in. And together we say, Amen. Aho. And so it is. Cheers. Well, if you're feeling angry, like, let it go. You know what I mean? Here's the thing, the full moon, sometimes you got to be human for a minute, right? The full moon is very good at all of a sudden putting the spotlight on something and like pushing on it for you, right? That's why I don't love it. Because I can go from being like, oh, this is okay, to like, all of a sudden I'm stressed or I'm anxious or I'm tense or I'm frustrated. And it's like, then notice that, right? Be with that for a minute and then just go, I don't have to live there. But you're human, sorry. You're going to be pissed off sometimes, and you're going to be sad, and you're going to be angry and frustrated and lonely and all the things. And then just like the moon, you shift, right? But like bringing your awareness to something is like, it's okay. We don't reject anything around here because it's all part of the experience and you came to have it. It's what you do with those moments, right? By the way, that awareness is the biggest gift we can give to young people because they don't know that their anger is okay, that their sadness is okay, that their grief is okay. They don't know unless we teach them, like, hey, are you upset? Yeah, that's okay. What are you upset about? I don't know. I'm just pissed off. All right, well, let's sit with that for a minute, right? But I like to ask, by the way, because sometimes it's hard. And I'll ask you this question, like, okay, so you're pissed off. Give it a color. What color is your anger? Like my anger sometimes is like a red-orange. What color is yours? And it's like, and kids can do this, right? Like my anger is black, or my anger is like gray. Okay. Well, like, what's the texture of it? Can you see through it? Can you see it? Or is it like opaque where you can't see through it? No, I can see through it. Okay. Can you turn it into a liquid, or is it a solid? No, it's solid. Okay. Well, can you try turning it into a liquid? Yeah. Well, when you turn it into a liquid, can you turn it into a river? I can. So what way is the water flowing? Is it coming toward you or away from you? It's coming toward me. Okay. Well, can you put something in the river to turn the water so it moves in the other direction? Right? Like just giving it like okay, this is okay. Let's work with this. Let's see if we can redirect it and kind of make some space from it and turn it in the other direction. Interesting. Is it flowing in the other direction yet? Not yet. A little bit. Now it is. Well, how do you feel? I feel better. And yes, I think your sadness is anger. So is mine. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that's helpful. You know, I was a teacher forever, and I was a teacher of young adults. You want to talk about pissed off people? Talk to a bunch of 18-year-olds, 17, 19. They're pissed. They're pissed. They don't fit. They're not adults. Nobody really respects their opinion yet, but they're not kids. Oof. You want to talk about that? So I taught them for a living for a decade, and I got really good at it. Right? Like, oh, okay, you're pissed. Me too. Want to be pissed together? Show me pissed, right? Fifth graders are pissed too. Yeah, because they're hormonal. They're about to go through puberty, so they're super pissed. And then let's talk about a 1-year-old. Let's talk about a 2-year-old. Can't talk. Fucking pissed. They can't walk. If they do, they look like they're drunk. Look at them. They look like they're drunk. That's a pissed off human. And by the way, that's a 5,000-year-old soul in that 18-month-old body that can barely walk, can't feed itself, right? I mean, pissed. And then let's talk about like people in their 70s and 80s, right? Whose bodies were like super strong and now they're not. Oof, pissed. Yeah, a lot of pissed. Anyway, I'm just saying, if we can learn to work with the emotions, then we can navigate. If we don't learn to work with them, and if we're just like, you know, I don't, why don't you change your attitude or whatever? It's like, why don't you change your attitude? But again, I'm a double fire sign, so I don't deal with any of that stuff. Okay, so our circle is open. We have called our guides and guardians. The work I want to do tonight is pretty simple. I want us to do a little visualization work tonight together. And I want to take the lid off the box. And I really want to drill into, just for a few minutes, the time we have together. Okay. I really want to drill into this idea of your offering tonight. And I always tell you this, like, if you really want to do some good work at a full moon, especially when we don't have an eclipse like tonight, it's so good, so clear. Commit to the next cycle between this full moon and the next full moon next month, that you're going to try to crystallize what your offering is. And I'll tell you something, for me, I'm going through, I know what my offering is. And I'm lucky I've gotten to do it in the world, right? But I think I'm redefining it a little bit. I think there's an edge of it that now in my 50s, I'm getting a little closer to. And I'm more fearless, right? So I'm like, well, this is interesting. So I don't think I'm completely redefining it, but I'm giving it like there's an edge of it that I'm getting introduced to that I wasn't familiar with before. And because I don't quite know what that is yet, I'm having to like feel my way into it. I'm really smart, but I can't like think this one through, right? Like this is experiential for me. Yeah. Woo. Refining. So I would like for you to, if you're a writer, I'm a writer. If you have a pen and a paper, I think it'd be good for you to write down, when I ask you what's your offering, write something down. Just write it down. And don't overthink it. And if you're not a writer, I want you to think about it. If you're a clairsentient person, you feel things, right? You're not using your brain, but you're just feeling it. Like, what's the feeling in your body when I ask you what your offering is? And again, I don't want to hear job, profession, education. I'm sure that all that stuff is really impressive to a lot of other people, and I'm really happy for you. But I'm speaking to your soul tonight. And your soul could give two shits about where you went to college, how many years you were there, how much time you did, right, in the system. Doesn't really care how much you make, and certainly doesn't care what your title is. But your soul does care that you are bringing your full offering to the table with the time you got left. That's what your soul is chiefly occupied with. So, super stoked for you. If you've got a really fancy Nancy title, right, and all the bucks, but you're not taking any of that with you. But you came here on purpose. And you said, yeah, I'm going to go there, and this is what I'm going to carry in my pocket. This is my little secret weapon. right? And I just want you to check in. And then I also want you to look at the feed, right? Because it's kind of inspiring to see other people articulate it. Keeping in mind, by the way, that this could change tomorrow because we're in this like hyper warp speed reality modification experiment on our planet right now, right? Yeah. So like, and I love it. Like Paulinette said, maybe art and stories is my offerings. Well, so talk to me about how you would give that to me. Let's pretend for tonight under this Capricorn full moon that I would like your offering. How will I get it? How are you going to give it to me? Right? Making people feel seen. Okay. So I want to feel seen. How are you going to offer it? Right? Remembering. Kasumi says, I want to be magic. Okay. What's magic to you? What does it look like? What does it taste like? What does it smell like? How would I get it? How would I experience it? Right? Humor and loving others, right? Which, Raina, you are very good at that. You have a very beautiful way of helping others feel loved, right? Because remember, everything about you, including your online presence, right? Like when you like things and comment on them, all of you, right? That's a way of offering what you bring to the world. It's how you show up, right? Love that. Yeah, Michelle says I talk with you during the classes you teach. Yes, you do. So, but take Athena out of the equation, right? How would me as a soul, how am I going to receive what you do? Right? How do I get your offering? And you may say, well, I offer it freely to everyone on the planet, right? So by living on the planet, you're receiving my offering. This is true, right? Bringing comfort just by being in their presence. I offer hope and humor through readings and teaching. Mm-hmm. Yes, you do. Joy, peace, love, right? So what would a commitment look like? A 28-day commitment to this, to manifesting more of your offering in the world. Again, we're not really setting intentions tonight, right? I'm not going to buckle you in till that Leo new moon, and then I'm gonna staple you to the wall at the Leo new moon. That's when we, put pen to paper. That's when we say, okay, universe, it's going to look like this, and I want it to be like this, and I'm right, like I am this, I have this, I want this. But like right now, we're just envisioning what's possible, right? So lots of different things, right? How do we gather people? How do we create space for people? How do we show people that we love them? What are you already doing that, or how are you already doing that really well? And then where are some places that maybe you could improve or do more of that? And the other challenge I give you, by the way, is that a lot of us do this well for certain people, whatever our offering is, but we don't necessarily do it for other people. It's the what's the story? Is it the cobbler's shoes or something like that? I don't remember what it is, but it's basically like the cobbler makes shoes, and like everybody in the whole town has new shoes except their kids or something like that. Like, we also have to do these things at home and with our loved ones. And we have to do it for the people we don't want to do it for. It's so nice to just show unconditional love to really nice people. But what about like the super huge jerk, right? Like that's the person who doesn't get the offering. It's really true. And I just will say it again. I don't think there's ever been a time in my life, I'm turning 52 in a couple of weeks, where I have noticed a more profound need for each of us to do whatever it is we're here to do in a good way. I just have never noticed it more. Because it's as much as, like I said, on some level, everything that kind of looks normal and your day-to-day may be kind of normal, big picture, things are shifting and moving so fast. And there's part of us that feels drained and kind of exhausted. And I'm just hearing this from all sides and sources and people in different countries and time zones and everything. So there's something in the collective, right? Yeah, Lena says, I'm a frontline light worker and it's not very glamorous. But it's so important, right? Frontline light worker, isn't that interesting? What did they call them during COVID? What did they call them? I don't remember what the term was. It's like the necessary workers or something like that. First respond, essential workers. I feel like an essential worker. Don't you feel like an essential worker? You know, everybody else gets a day off, and you're like, I'm an essential worker. I didn't sign up for the for the extra vacation package, right? I signed up for the essential worker package. You are. Look, I'm looking at you. You are an essential light worker. I'm sorry you didn't sign up for the heavy vacation shift, but your presence is highly requested and required at this time. And thank you for your service. Amy's like, nope, I'm retired. Oh, bud, darling. Right? And yes, can we also please give huge gratitude to the very real essential work being done in places like Texas right now. God bless you. Truly, right? Yeah. Talk about bringing your offering to the world in a good and powerful way and answering a call, right? It gives me chills. Just, you don't know what to say except just thank you. So grateful, right? Okay. So I've gone over time. But sit with me for a minute. If we could hold hands, I would. So just imagine that we are. So tonight, here's the I guess the request for me to you, or my offering to you tonight. Okay. If you really want to know what this is, and you may go, I don't really want to know what my offering is. Okay. I mean, you're not here to do what I say. I'm here to suggest, right? If you really want to dig deeper into what this offering is, I want to invite you tonight to allow Spirit to speak to you and to allow that to carry into your dream time tonight. So if I was holding your hand, I would just say, do you want this? And you would say yes or no. I would say, okay, if you do, let's just make a commitment that tonight in dream time, something will become clearer to you about why you're here. Not your work, but really your vocation, right? Which comes from the Latin word vox, which is your voice, right? Like what you're actually here to communicate and express in the world. Because Uranus is transiting to Gemini, and we know we're on the edge of a complete transformation of how we communicate with each other, right? And how intelligence is expressed and developed. And I think AI is a big part of that. And I think we have to be highly cautious about how much reliance we put on something like AI. But again, that will sound so ridiculous in 20 to 40 years when we're working with it in a different way, right? So are you ready? So great Spirit, God, Goddess, and Source of all that is, please see me and my soul siblings tonight as we ask for greater clarity about our offerings to the world. Please illuminate the places, the pathways, the channels through which we bring our gifts forward. Help us to understand why we're here and help us to be in service to each other in a good way. With love and with grace and a whole lot of really real humanity for each other, so that when we are sad and mad, we can also share that with each other, and it's all okay. Together we say, Amen, Aho, and so it is. Well, and Priscilla says, I don't quite understand what to offer. I think that's why when I was sharing that with you, Priscilla, about what my son said to me yesterday, and why, and kids are so good, right? Like with an offhanded comment, they say something that makes a 51-year-old person stop and go, oh, what if that's it? Right? Because I used to think, oh, I need to be tougher. I need to be, whatever. And it's like, maybe I don't. Maybe that's why I'm here. Maybe it's really as simple as that. And then you can look at everything else as like, everything else is how I do that, right? So what if you bring it back to the real basics, Priscilla? What will people remember about you, Like when I think about what I remember about my mom, who passed away 4 years ago this summer, my mom's middle name was Faith, and she really reminded people to have it. My mom was very good at cultivating faith, a belief in things unseen. I think that was her gift. She did it 100 different ways, as a Girl Scout leader, as a mom, as the best grandmother on the planet, right? All these things. But I think her gift was really almost something Nick would say in passing. Like, she helps people hold their faith. Like, yeah, she does. How many people in your life do that? Nobody in my life the way she did it. Tonight was special, you guys. I'm glad you were here. Your little offering, it's like your little candle. Everything else is just the how. I think it's pretty cool. So thanking and releasing the guides and guardians for being present with us tonight. Guides and guardians of the vertical channel, the lower world, middle world, and upper world, we release you. Guides and guardians of the north, for your grounding, patience, peace, perseverance, presence. Thanking and releasing you. Guides and guardians of the west, healing, renewal, comfort, nurturing. Thanking and releasing you. Guides and guardians of the south, for passion and change and courage and fire, we release you. Guides and guardians of the east, thank you for new beginnings. There's always one right around the corner. Oh, I love that. Rachel pulled the fearless creativity card. Yeah. I think it's an invitation tonight to be fearlessly creative about why you're here with the time you have. Yeah. I mean, you do get to a point, right? Like, here I am in middle age going, there's more years behind me than there are ahead of me. What do I do with this good time that I have, Every day matters. So cheers. Me too, Kasumi. She said, I wish I could be in a physical circle with you guys. Me too. But for now, we're here. I do have dreams and visions of all of that. It is nice. We used to do them every month, and it was cool. People traveled from all over the world to come and do a ceremony in the same room, and it was pretty rad. So everything's possible. All right, cheers. Thank you for being here. We will be in the after party experience in 22 minutes at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. Glad you were here. This was an important connection for us this evening. I appreciate you so much more than I can even tell you. And thank you for, I do want to say this before I go. I see you. You know what I mean? I don't always get to comment on everything and like everything and all the things, but I see. And it's, all the ways that you make a difference. I think the Capricorn full moon is a really important time to just tell you, thank you. You make my world a better place to be. And when I'm down, it's you I look to, right? And you never know. It's that funny post that you make, or that sharing those pictures from your children's birthday party or whatever, just like the scrolling through that just makes this world a better place. And you do that for me. So thank you for all the ways that you show up, and please keep showing up. Do good things with the time you have. I'll see you guys soon. See you in the after party. Mwah. Thank you, Cersei, as always. We'll see you soon.